The worst Manchester United side in the Premier League era. There has been lots of talk this week about legendary players at Manchester United after Roy Keane named his all-time Premier League side. It is fair to say there have been more than a few greats to have donned the famous United colours. Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney and Keane himself to name just a few. But United have had their fair share of total flops, too. They may have the class of '92 to look back on, yet there was the infamous summer of 2003, where Alex Ferguson seemingly lost the plot in the transfer market. Three of the class of '03 feature in our rundown of the worst side to grace the United team in the Premier League, as well as an infamous Italian goalkeeper, a centre-back who stayed at the club for 7 years, and a striker whose transfer remains as baffling now as it was back in 2008. Here, Sportsmail takes a look at the players who are remembered for all the wrong reasons. Goalkeeper Massimo Taibi. If you were to ask United fans for the worst goalkeeper they have ever seen in the shirt, almost everyone would plump for this hapless Italian. He was the outstanding candidate for this prized role. Taibi, who cost £4.5 million, had a torrid time at Old Trafford and was once dubbed the blind Venetian by an Italian newspaper. His name has become synonymous with the infamous howler he made against Southampton in 1999, where he let a weak shot from Matt Le Tissier comically slip under his legs and into the net. Taibi only ever played one more game for the club, a 5-0 defeat to Chelsea. Ouch. Right back Guillermo Varela, who, you might understandably ask. The Uruguayan was meant to follow in the footsteps of South American counterparts the Da Silva twins, but, while they were a ray of sunshine at the club, Varela was a complete dud. It is little wonder Varela, David Moyes' first signing as United boss in 2013, made just 4 appearances in 4 years at United, where he spent more time on loan than at Old Trafford. He eventually returned home in 2017, 4 years too late for many United fans. Varela is still playing in Russia for Dynamo Moscow. Centre-back William Prunier has the unwanted tag of being perhaps the worst United signing of all time. Ferguson is lauded for his work in the transfer market, but this French defender is living proof he did not always get it right. He joined from Bordeaux as a trialist in 1995 and was not expected to feature in the first team too often, but an injury crisis forced Ferguson's hand. It actually started well for Prunier, but he has been held responsible for the 4 goals United shipped to Tottenham Hotspur in his second and last appearance for the Red Devils. A complete disaster. Centre-back Marcos Rojo, by far the longest-serving Red in this highly coveted side, the bullish Argentinian somehow managed to cling on at United for 7 years and remarkably only left last summer. You could only watch Rojo on the ball from behind the sofa, and that is ignoring his tendency to fly into tackles without a care in the world. Erratic does not do him justice. Rojo played in more than 120 games for United and won 3 trophies if, like Jose Mourinho, you count the Community Shield during his time there. He never really established himself and should have left the club long before he fell through the exit door. Left back, Alexander Butner. Unfortunately, Butner is another example of Ferguson getting it hopelessly wrong. The Dutchman was supposed to be a replacement for Patrice Evra, but proved a classic example of a defender who simply could not defend. Butner is not exactly held in high regard among United fans, with some labeling him as one of the most awful players to have won a Premier League title with the club. And there are no shortage of candidates for that particular honor. Right midfield, Gabriel Obertan was one of the arrivals signed using the money generated by Cristiano Ronaldo's sale to Real Madrid, but was clearly out of his depth at Old Trafford. The Frenchman became the poster boy for those who felt, perhaps rightly, that United and Fergie had wasted the Ronaldo cash. An injury-hit spell at United included just 1 goal and 1 assist in 19 appearances before he was ferried out to Newcastle, who kept him on their books for 5 years for some unknown reason. Centre midfield, Kleberson hopes among United fans were high when he arrived in 2003 after Luis Felipe Scolari, Brazil's manager at the time, claimed the midfielder was the first name on his team sheet ahead of the likes of Ronaldo. That startling opinion could not have been further from the truth, judging by his 2-year stint at Old Trafford. It was not only injuries that led to the Brazilian playing only 20 games in 2 seasons for United. Most supporters still do not know what he could actually do, and, thankfully, that will forever remain a mystery. Centre midfield, Eric Djemba. So good they named him twice? Not quite. Djemba is another who hails from the bizarre early 2000s period, where the club signed players even the most astute followers of world football had never heard of. Bought in an attempt to replace Roy Keane's aging legs, the Cameroonian joined at the same time as Kleberson and was equally woeful, failing to establish his place in the side before moving to Aston Villa, where he also struggled. Honorable mentions for midfield in this hallowed side include Rodrigo Possebon, who briefly had a chance sung about him to the tune of Give It Up by KC and the Sunshine Band, Luke Chadwick and Zoran Tosic. Left midfield, David Bellion, a bit of a fudge here, but we had to find a place for this spectacularly unremarkable French forward, the third intake from the much-maligned class of 2003. Bellion was considered a promising young talent when he left Sunderland for Old Trafford, but to say he never fulfilled it, either at United or elsewhere, would be a huge understatement. It is staggering that Bellion made as many as 40 appearances under Ferguson before returning to his native France. Forward, BBB's £7 million move to Old Trafford is possibly the most bizarre signing in United's history, so strange that it was even investigated by the Portuguese police. There is not a great deal to say about BB other than he will go down in the annals of transfer history at United, and not for the right reasons. United fans cannot help but smile whenever his name is mentioned. Whatever was Fergie thinking? Forward, Manacho the Angolan was offered a 3-year deal after a successful trial in 2008, with Ferguson and his staff reportedly impressed with the way he handled the physicality of the likes of Nemanja Vidic in training. But following a struggle obtaining a work permit and after returning from a loan spell in Greece, Manacho went on to play just 42 minutes for United across 3 substitute appearances. While he cannot be blamed for his work permit issues, it is fair to say Manacho was not sorely missed when he left Old Trafford. The Fulls' eye